Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live, we have some very important updates coming out of none other than the White House of the United States of America. Some insider, unfortunately, anonymous sources are talking about how we may be about to see a lot of regulation coming down through executive order on the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency landscape. This also comes at the time that something called the America Competes Act is being debated, which could potentially give ultimate authority over cryptocurrency to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. There is a lot of regulation talk going on in cryptocurrency right now, and it's got a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt brewing. We're going to discuss what all of this means for crypto. Are we about to see a crackdown on crypto coming from the Congress and from the White House, or is this just the regulation we always knew was coming, and it's actually going to help because it'll provide guardrails for the future of this industry so that we can grow and flourish and thrive and allow the institutions to come in? We're going to be discussing all of that and more, as well as our obvious regular technical analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have so much content to dive into today, guys, and you're not going to want to miss this because nobody's talking about this, but it could have major implications on what the next several years of development for the cryptocurrency space look like. If you enjoyed today's show, smash that like button. Let's get to 500 likes without even finishing the intro. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Quick announcement before I throw it to Tim. We have actually started clipping this show. We're going to be doing 1 to 2 clips every single day of the best parts of this show, and they'll be going live on the channel. So make sure you stay tuned for those. I know it's an hour-and-a-half show, and it might be helpful for you if you're able to watch a 5 to 10 minute clip about some of the juiciest segments taken from the day's show. But I am joined, as always, by my co-host, TA Tim. How you doing, Tim?
What's up, everybody? It is a great day. One reason it's a great day is because of this bad boy right here. I am the holder of the HODL trophy. I did win. I will say, this was one of the closest races we have had just yet, because this morning, Smay was winning. It was at 36,000 almost exactly. That would have put him a win. But this recent climb over 37 has put me in the lead. I am thankful, grateful. Thank you for your guys' support and fandom. Also, today I can share my screen.
Ooh.
So.
Finally.
It's going to be nice. It's going to be a fun show. Well, not even 100% certain what it's going to look like yet. I don't think I've seen what
no,
it looks like. We'll get there.
We're going to get there.
You guys will see.
Before Smay starts talking, before he was introduced, allow me to introduce our producer and technical director and our good friend, Smay. How you doing, Smay?
I'm doing pretty good. I would like to take this opportunity, guys, to show my appreciation and my love and respect and admiration and absolute infatuation with our members. In order to do that, I have to say your guys' names. And in order to do that, I have to read from my phone to say your names. So I would like to shout out TZ, Ricardo Venegas, Jeremy Shorter, Thomas Post, Crypto Alchemist, Crypto Set Guy, Ricardo Venegas, Grand Roofing Incorporated, Leon the Dutch, Brad Giedel, Just Ray, Ricardo Venegas again, Alan Carey, and Jojo.
Well, didn't we also say that we're going to make a tradition of Fridays reading all of our Grandmasters?
Yeah, do it.
Because I have them.
Let's do it. Let's see the Grandmasters.
We got Adam Rourke, Matt C., Tommy Lou, Edward Hess, Rick4962, or Yard Dog, Daniel Walton, Screwhead, and Dennis Pizarca.
Yeah, and
why did I tell him how to pronounce it? That's my favorite segment.
And there's more names to be added to the trophy. So yeah, on Monday we'll read them out again.
This is true. Well, we're also joined, as always, by Kelly from New York. Kelly, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine with my fuzzy little friend here. We're just keeping an eye on the markets. I went and got my my yearly physical yesterday. I'm healthy. I'm happy. We got some signals. We don't know what it means in the exact price estimate for the moment, but the underlying market and some metrics are showing that some of those short-term sellers are getting exhausted. So we got a lot to talk about today, and I'm excited to jump right in.
Heck yeah, man. That dog is adorable. What's his name? Stella?
That's Stella. Yeah,
we gotta finish the word. What is it? A dork or adorable?
A dork. It's adorkable.
It's adorkable.
It's adorkable.
Yeah, there's a couple words that can finish after.
I know some people that are adorkable.
Or
that dog is one of them.
That dog is just a door, in which case it's false.
The dog is a door. No, there is a door in his shot, but that's not the door. There's a door in 2 of our people's shots. How about that? Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump on over to CoinGecko, and we're going to do our market pulse. Then we're going to jump straight into it, guys. We got a lot to talk about. Bitcoin right now trading at $37,000. If we look over on the chart, as Tim talked about, we did have a little bit of a movement to the upside upside this morning. We're pretty much moving in a ascending trading channel right now on Bitcoin, but this Bitcoin ascending trading channel actually could potentially turn into a bear flag, which would lead Bitcoin down to about $30,000. We've talked about that in previous shows, and we're going to talk about it again here today. But technically speaking, it is in an uptrend, even if in the last 3 days it is actually just trading sideways. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it has meant that the rest of the cryptocurrency market has kind of been free to do its own thing. Since Bitcoin isn't really leading any trend, the altcoins are moving off in their own direction. So Bitcoin has traded sideways for the last 24 hours, more or less. Ethereum's down 3%. Binance Coin is up 1.8%. Cardano down 3.1%, sitting at $1. XRP down 2.6%. Solana down 4%. A lot of the big power players in the top 10 down quite a bit. Terra Luna down 20%, down to $48.67. I might pick up some Terra down there at that price. That is a very, very interesting price for Terra. Definitely one of my favorites. Actually, excuse me, it is my favorite stablecoin, algorithmic stablecoin project in the cryptocurrency industry. We can also see over the last 24 hours, there are some cryptocurrencies that have gained, but not by very much. Flow is up 4%, BitTorrent, old BitTorrent to be clear, and Maker all the way up here in single-digit territory. Then we have Terra, Convex Finance, Near, Cosmos, and Gala down over 10%, along with Loopring and Osmos. Quite a bit of downwards movement right there. And really quickly, I actually want to take a little bit of a look over here at market dominance on Bitcoin over on CoinMarketCap. Market dominance on Bitcoin is very, very important because it tells us the state of the sentiment of the market. Right now, we are seeing that Bitcoin pulled all the way down to 40, and over the last week or so, it has actually rallied all the way up to about 42. What that means is that as Bitcoin is bouncing here over the last week, it has actually been regaining dominance against some of the altcoins. The reason that that's interesting is because if you look at the all-time history of Bitcoin here, oftentimes when Bitcoin is in a major rally or when it's recovering from a local bottom, then it will start to gobble up market dominance, because as the market is low, then you will see that the altcoins will start to bleed trust and bleed their valuation into Bitcoin because people are feeling more confident in Bitcoin. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now, I think. I think some people are thinking, all right, we over-leveraged on altcoins. We have too little Bitcoin. I'm going to jump back into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the blue chip that leads the rest of the industry. It is the underlying the underlying portfolio foundation for the rest of my altcoins. I think some people might be leaving some of their altcoins faster than they're leaving Bitcoin, and they may be buying Bitcoin on the dip, which could be leading to an uptick in market dominance. Now, we're going to keep moving here. We got some other stuff to talk about, but really quickly, Tim, I want to get your take on this market dominance argument. How do you think market dominance and the actual direction and the sentiment of the market play together? What's the relationship between those?
Yeah, that's what I don't think at this point it's really too crazy important, especially in a season. And we're going to talk about probably throughout the rest of the show about this, how we're in a very much an indecision phase. I think that when we're looking at dominance, that's not the metric that we really should be looking at right now. We've actually noticed as we've gone down in price, Bitcoin's picked up dominance. Does that mean when we go back up, it'll lose dominance? Will there be a phase where Bitcoin picks it back up and the rest of the altcoin doesn't? I actually think we're probably going to see Bitcoin continue to lose dominance because the altcoins are going to lead the path before Bitcoin's rally. But I still think there's just so much unknown in the market right now, and that includes the Bitcoin's dominance. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Smay, let me ask you a question. Who do you think is going to lead us out of this downtrend? Do you think the altcoins are going to lead us out of it, or do you think Bitcoin's going to lead us out of it?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I gotta say, I'm not too confident on my answer here, but I have to say I feel like it's probably going to be Bitcoin. I feel like Bitcoin's going to be the one. I have a feeling. I just have a feeling. That's all I have.
I would agree with that statement. I totally agree with that because oftentimes when the market is in a downtrend, people are much more confident going into the big player because that is where all of the trust resides.
Yeah. To finish my thought, it's kind of like I feel like it's easier to sell the value proposition even in downtrends for something like Bitcoin than it is some altcoins. So.
That's a very good point. It's a heck of a lot easier.
Well, one clarifying question: when you guys say lead, what does that mean? It starts going up first, or does that mean it's the largest gainer? Because
it starts going up first.
Okay, so in that case, I think you're right. I thought you were talking about like which one are we going to see outperform? Like if we were to look over, if we were to do the Ethereum over Bitcoin, or Cardano over Bitcoin, or Phantom over Bitcoin, or Solana over Bitcoin, I think we're going to see that chart go up, meaning those are going to outgain Bitcoin.
I agree.
But I do think I think the market is waiting for Bitcoin's price to go up to let the altcoins loose, to run their rally.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. It's like Bitcoin will be the signal of confidence re-entering the market. When that confidence comes back, then people start to go on the more risky assets.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it always works and has it for the last 4.5 years, ever since Bitcoin dropped from 90% market dominance. What we're going to do, guys, we're going to go ahead and read some super chats. We already have a bunch of them. Thank you so very much for that. Then we're going to jump into our Bitcoin technical analysis. Then we're going to jump into our discussion around the White House and the matter of national security. That is Bitcoin. We could be seeing some major announcements coming out in the next couple of weeks, which would have major implications on your portfolio. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this. If you're enjoying today's show, smash that like button. Let's get to 750 likes here in the next couple of minutes, and let's go ahead and read some super chats.
Yeah, we have one from Leon the Dutch.
Ooh, hey, Leon.
So Leon said, question, why do you think the next run-up will be higher than the previous all-time high? If you look at the 2020 all-time high, the 2021 all-time high was almost as high. I'm confused with that one. Why are you so sure that the new all-time high will be much more higher than 100%? So 100x, sorry. 100K, sorry.
The reason that I believe the new all-time high will be so much higher than 100K is because I have been in the space for 4.5 years, almost 5 now, and I have witnessed the parabolic growth of the fundamentals. The fundamentals are upstream of the price. So the price was able to go to $65,000 9-10 months ago. The fact that it was able to do that on 9 or 10 months ago's fundamentals mean that if it were to go into a hype cycle like that now, if that makes sense, then it would go to $100,000 just because the fundamentals have grown so much. I mean, we see it in total value locked on layer 2 solutions. We see it that now an entire nation has adopted Bitcoin, the total number of users, total number of wallets, the number of developers working on in the space, the number of altcoins, the number of decentralized applications, DEXs, regulatory clarity, you name it, it's here. The fundamentals are stronger, and that's why I do think that if we go into a hype cycle, we'll go to $100,000. Now, we probably will be a little overextended if we go to $100,000. I'm not necessarily saying Bitcoin should be at $100,000 right now, but based on the nature of hype cycles, if we do start going crazy, then that is probably where it would lead us. Great question.
Yeah. Let's see. We got one that just came in from Shadrach Frost, who has been a member for 6 months as a Jebbi youngling.
Ooh,
so
thank you, Shadrach.
Praise the Lord for Jebb and his amazing crew. Thank you for all the work, for all working so hard to bring us the latest information and to help educate us. Mad respect.
Thank you so much, Shadrach. Thank you so much.
All Things Ethereum, or ETH, said, thank you so much for your consistent content, Jebb and team.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate
gratitude day. They've got a really grateful,
we really do.
Grateful community.
Grateful
today.
community.
Chris Moe, which isn't Chris Moe, maybe not. There was somebody named Chris that joined yesterday, said, leaving Sunday for my wedding in, now, okay, here we go. Islam, that J is definitely not pronounced J, but Mures?
Isla Mires?
I don't know. Paid for the entirety via crypto savings and gains. Thank you so much for your guidance and morning run companionship. So he must run while he's with us. You've helped change my life, and yes, I pay my taxes. Cheers.
There you go. Good deal. Isla Mujeres? Mujeres?
Yeah.
Mujeres? I have no idea. I'm learning
the truth
Spanish.
Is it's probably pretty simple. It's just me butchering.
Mujeres? I'm learning Spanish, so hopefully I'll be able to pronounce that soon.
Intermediate Handyman said, so fortunate to find y'all through ATB. Every one of you are genuine people. Loves, he said, meant CD2A, and Lux Algo.
Heck yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
Both
Thank you so very much for that.
Joker's Performance, last one I see here. Joker's Performance says, look at Bitcoin on the weekly. I see a head and shoulders pattern forming. My Elliott wave counter hit at 3 on Bitcoin's all-time high. What are your thoughts on this playing out?
Yeah, I agree with both of those statements, and actually we can use that to transition into our Bitcoin technical analysis because it's now time for that. After this Bitcoin TA, we're going to jump into the topic as outlined in the title, how Bitcoin is a matter of national security, so says a source close to the White House, and we're going to be talking about all of that and more, but I'll start off by answering that. Looking on the weekly chart, Bitcoin does look like it is in a head and shoulders pattern. And I wasn't necessarily dismissive of this at the time, but I was saying, I just want you to be careful about this idea of the head and shoulders pattern because, yes, this is actually a head and shoulders pattern at this point. I would say that this has now confirmed as a head and shoulders pattern. This head and shoulders pattern, however, has a price target, as you can see, at roughly $25,000. Could we go to $25,000? Yes. In fact, we've talked about on this channel how $25,000 could actually make some sense because it would play into the Fibonacci retracement, which if we go in here and turn this on Fib based on log, then we would see the 0.5% retracement would be at $25,000. So there is an argument to be made that Bitcoin could go to 25K. Do I think it's going to go to 25K? I am hesitant to say that it's going to go to 25K, and there's a few reasons why. And by the way, I have not forgotten about the other part about the Elliott waves. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Part of the reason why I'm hesitant to say that it's going to go to 25K is because, one, out here on the weekly chart, we're actually seeing a spinning top right now. The spinning top is a candlestick formation that is constituted by a very long upper shadow, or excuse me, an upper shadow, lower shadow, also known as an upper wick and a lower wick. And it comes into play whenever the upper wick and the lower wick are roughly the same size. So the reason I said excuse me when I said long, they don't have to be long. This right here was a spinning top, for example. So was this, but this was also a spinning top, and we had a very large body and a very small wick on either side. We have equidistant, equally large upper and lower candle wicks. What we're seeing with that is indecision. Whenever we see indecision in the cryptocurrency market, that is one step towards a trend reversal. So if you're seeing a downtrend and then you see a spinning top and you see indecision, then that typically means that the downtrend is in danger. And if you see an uptrend and you see a spinning top, that means that the uptrend is in danger. And the reason for that is because if you're going up, before you go down, there has to be a part where you're not moving. If you throw a ball in the air, there is one fraction of femtosecond where that ball is not moving. It's sitting in one spot. And that's what you see with a spinning top, is that you throw the ball in the air or you throw the ball down, and there's 1 second where it's not moving. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now on Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is not moving. It's moving sideways, but it's not moving up or down. And that's what we're seeing on this spinning top. It could indicate that the bottom is in. I'm not going to say that the bottom is in, and I'm actually going to be very hesitant to say where the bottom is. But what I will tell you is that there are 3 major levels that we could see the bottom. One is where we are right now, around 33,000, which I personally think is about as equally likely as $30,000. 33 and $30,000 are pretty equally likely bottoms, and then an extreme bottom would be about 25K. I am leaning more in the direction of 30 to 33, but that's just my take on that. The reason I bring all that up is because if we look at the head and shoulders pattern here, it gives a price target of $25,000, so it is very much in the cards. Now, I do also want to mention the Elliott waves that you were talking about. Let's go ahead and look at Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of people have talked about how this looks like, you know, Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, or you might even say that this is an ABC. Typically, you'd use ABC on a downtrend, but you can also use it here. So we see a 1 wave, 2, 3, and then if you look down on the daily chart, there are people that are comparing this entire downtrend to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like this is what some people are saying, or they might say it a little bit differently. They might draw it like this. And the point is that we are looking at Elliott wave playing out. But the issue with Elliott wave right now is that we've been in this long downtrend, and you kind of have to force Elliott wave to work with some of these bounces, which is why I'm not looking at it that closely here on the daily chart. But as far as the rest of the technical analysis is concerned, let's go ahead and do that. I want to show you several of our oscillators here. Number one, we're about to see a bullish cross on the MACD. That's actually very important because not only are we going to see a bullish cross on MACD, we're also looking at bullish MACD divergence. So whenever you see a downtrend on the price action, uptrend on the MACD, that is called divergence. They are divergent. So we're seeing this is down, this is up. If we were to see this is up and this is down, then that would also be divergence. They're moving in different directions. They are diverging. Whenever you see divergence come into play like this, and in fact, I have some examples up on this chart, we can see it happen right over here, right over here, right over here, and right over here, and then compare that with the price action up here. Whenever you see the divergences like this, that typically indicates that you're about to see a major trend reversal. And that's what we're seeing right now on Bitcoin, is we're seeing bullish MACD divergence showing up on the bottoms of the price action and of the oscillators. On top of that, as I said, we are seeing a bullish MACD cross coming into play. As well as that, we're also seeing that the RSI on Bitcoin is currently sitting at 31, and we're actually looking like we're about to break above the 14-day simple moving average on the RSI. Now, if you don't have this moving average going through your RSI, I encourage you to go into your trading view, go up here to technical indicators, type in RSI, and you'll see it says updated. Go ahead and remove your RSI, add your RSI back, and you will see this moving average going through it. And it's actually very helpful for telling us whether or not we're in an uptrend or a downtrend. It's another way for us to get a feeling if we're in that uptrend or that downtrend. Kind of similar to how you've seen me use the 20 exponential moving average to tell us whether we're in an uptrend or a downtrend on the daily and the 4-hourly chart. Now, there are a few other things I want to show you here, and then I'm going to throw it to Tim because I want his take on some of these technicals. But one of the first things is the VPVR. If we look at the VPVR, which is called the volume profile of the visible range, then we will see that there is something called the VPVR maximum sitting at $33,100. In fact, I'm going to remove this line, and you'll see there's a red line right here. This red line shows the peak of the entire VPVR. It's not down here, it's not right there, and it's not right there because this is higher, and I'm going to explain this indicator a little bit here in a second. But basically what this means is that we have seen the most trading in the last year, and more specifically the most volume traded in the last year at this level of $33,000. That gives us a strong level of support. Now, does that mean that we can't go lower? Absolutely not. We could go lower, but what it basically tells us is that we're going to need a lot of bearish price action, maybe a lot of, FUD, maybe a lot of bearish manipulation, which we're seeing some of. We're going to talk about that bearish manipulation in a little bit because I personally do believe that this press release coming out of a source close to the White House is manipulation. We would have to see a lot of manipulation to push Bitcoin down to $30,000, which is why I'm a little bit skeptical to make that call. But nevertheless, the VPVR is giving us support. Now, the VPVR, as I said, basically tells us where the support is on the market based on previous trading. As you can see, there's not much VPVR right here because there wasn't much trading over here, but there's a lot of VPVR support right here because there was quite a bit of trading in the visible range. You need to have TradingView Premium, by the way, to get VPVR or one of the paid packages with TradingView. You can sign up for TradingView at the link in the description box down below. Then you'll come down here and type in community scripts, I believe it is, and you can go to, excuse me, not that. You can go to volume profile of the visible range, and that will bring up this technical indicator. Once you do that, come in here to the settings. This will be set to 24 by default, and it'll look like this. You want more resolution, I always come in here and change the row size to 200 so that you get a lot more resolution. So that's what the VPVR is saying right now. Well, what I'm going to do now is I want to throw it to Tim. Tim, what are your thoughts on that VPVR maximum? Are we going to hold $33,000 because that's there, or are we going to break that?
Well, so just VPVR as a whole, you know what? Here we're going to test it out on something that is not really, I'm not going to have that big of a deal about. But go to my screen real quick, man. I'm going to show people, in case anyone is confused about VPVR and what Jebb is doing and why it changes on them potentially. Watch as I change the price angle. VPVR is going to change. The lines are going to change. If I take some out, it's going to change. So as far as that specific level, you do have to be looking at a certain time frame. If I zoom in, for example, and only show the rest of what has happened during this downtrend, that VPVR significantly changes. I'm not looking at the VPVR right now. This is just me personally to make a large read right now. I do think there are significant levels to the point we're at right now. For example, if you're using the logarithmic Fibonacci retracement, you're going to find that we're sitting, let me zoom it, put it over here so you guys can see it better. We're sitting right there where the candle body's closed on the daily chart is right there at the 0.786 level. So I do think there's significance to this level. But again, with manipulation, I've said this now for a while. My prediction on price action is we have not yet set up a bullish trend on the daily chart. I think we've seen it on 12-hourly slightly. We've seen it on 4-hourly and 1-hourly, and actually the 1-hourly keeps bouncing back and forth between uptrends and downtrends. I think we're going to see a candle body close below this last candle body close of 35. 35,000 right now is the lowest close. To set up a strong bullish RSI divergence, we need to have a candle body close, and we could close anywhere in this region of 34, maybe go all the way down to 33, maybe go down a little further. I think that's all possible. But what you're going to see happen, again, based off of my prediction of what I think will spark this rally, is look at this absolutely low level on the RSI. We're going to see the price come back down here, but the RSI is not going to get that low. That's what's going to give us the strong bullish RSI divergence. We have that divergence on the MACD. You guys can see right here, as Jebb's talked about, uptick in the MACD, downtick in the price, but we haven't seen it on RSI. So the whole market right now is an indecision. The whole market is kind of moving sideways. 1 second we're moving up, the next second we're moving down. We even talked about this morning. We've already seen prices as low as 36,000. We've seen prices as high as over 37. We're now kind of slowly working our way back down. The market's boring and it's moving sideways. Watch the price come back down in this season of manipulation to shake out more weak hands. We're talking about news here in a little bit too. All this news has been very, very unhelpful at really determining what's going to happen in the market. Watch the manipulation bring us back down. We're going to close on a day. The fact that the daily candle is going to close that low is going to discourage a lot of people, and that's going to set up exactly what we need to actually spark a rally.
Absolutely. Well, guys, let's go ahead and keep moving on with our technical analysis. I want to show you a technical indicator that also comes with TradingView Premium. It's called TD Sequential. So, guys, as I said, if you have not signed up for TradingView yet, there's a link in the description box down below. It is incredibly helpful to have the paid version of TradingView because it allows you to have a bunch of new indicators, and it also allows you to have some of these premium indicators. But one of them is called the TD Sequential. If we look here on the daily chart, the TD Sequential counts all the way up to 9. Now, We talk about TD Sequential in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. If you would like to look at that, you can find those links in the description box down below as well. But whenever we hit 9, this basically tells us that the market has been overextended and has gone too far in the same direction for too long. Now, we have seen that happen on the daily chart, but the interesting thing is that I do believe we've seen something similar happen on the 2-daily chart relatively recently, and then out on the 3-daily chart. I want to take a look at it here. We've also seen a bearish 9 flash, and I don't remember if we've seen it on the weekly chart. In fact, we did. We saw it 2 weeks ago. So basically what TD Sequential is telling us right now is that the long-term trend that is down ever since November 10th, which November 10th was a great day for Bitcoin. Ever since the great day of November 10th, Bitcoin has been in a downtrend, and TD Sequential is basically saying, all right, that's enough of that. You guys need to have a rally. So I just want to let you know that that's one of those reversal signals that we're currently looking at. But another one I want to look at is known as the Lux Algo indicator. Lux Algo, as you guys know, is one of my favorite technical indicators because it helps me to understand whether Bitcoin is in an uptrend or a downtrend. At the moment, we are in a confirmed uptrend. We have a buy signal, we have the trend catcher is green, and we also had, for a little while, the fact that the Lux oscillator was green. Now, the way that I use Lux Algo, I use these 3 technical indicators to look at whether or not we're in an uptrend or a downtrend. And right now on the 4-hourly chart, we are technically in an uptrend, which is what we talked about earlier. Based on candlestick analysis, we can see that we were in an uptrend. Now, if we look at the 6-hourly chart, we're going to see something interesting as well. Boom, we're in an uptrend. Now, if we look at the 8-hourly chart, we're also going to see, okay, we're in an uptrend. We have a buy signal. We have green trend catcher, green Lux oscillator. That's phenomenal. And 12-hourly chart, at least yesterday, we were in an uptrend, and we are right now too. You can see the buy signal, green trend catcher, and also green Lux oscillator. That's phenomenal. That tells us that we're in an uptrend on all of those time frames. But also keep in mind the fact that these candlesticks are purple and not green indicates that it is a very weak uptrend. It's very, very weak. It has not proven itself yet, and it really needs to. Lux Algo is telling us, okay, you're technically in an uptrend, but it's kind of on a technicality. So I just want you to know Lux Algo is saying, yes, we're in an uptrend, which we are, but you just want to be a little bit careful of jumping the gun on that. I personally think it is way too early to be entering any long-term long trades. I think we're in a little bit of a no trade zone right now until Bitcoin makes a decision. But the point I want to make on Lux Algo is that all of that bullishness down on the shorter term time frames has not translated to the daily chart. We are not out of the woods yet on the daily chart. We are still in a downtrend and have had a sell signal over this market ever since the 4th birthday of the channel, November 16th, 2021. We've been in a downtrend ever since then, and we still are. We'll likely need to see Bitcoin rally up to at least $40,000, if not higher, to initiate a bullish trend reversal on daily chart, and that's what Lux Algo is telling us. So if you enjoy Lux Algo, you should definitely get it. It's worth every single penny. Everybody on our team that does technical analysis uses Lux Algo, and we're all very big fans of it. You can sign up with coupon code Jebb, J-E-B-B, for 20% off at checkout with the link in the description box down below. But now, I'm going to go ahead and throw it on over to Kelly. We're going to talk about some on-chain and market headlines, and we're also going to discuss this regulatory landscape and the news and whether or not this is manipulation. So, Kelly, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything you've said is one of the things I really want to point out here when we're doing technical analysis, or in a second when I bring up some of the on-chain metrics, is never can we ever predict or really harness the exact location of the bottom before it happens. All we can do is start to watch out for shifts in trend, signals, and a confluence to those signals, whether it be indicators, chart patterns, candlestick analysis. And from that, we can start to determine where we want to place the smartest entries or exits. Now, the first thing I want to go over here is just on Market Cipher. And as you can see here, we actually have a green dot here on the 3-day, which is actually it's a lot more powerful than on the 1-day, because it means that there's more of a consensus over time that's showing that the momentum is starting to shift on the grander scale. Now, on the daily, we're still we are under a green dot. We're coming up, but this doesn't mean it's just up from here. We scroll down here to the 4-hour. This is showing very huge indecision here, as we did have anchor wave, trigger wave. We came up, the momentum came back down, and it's flipping back and forth. You do see though that here on the money flow for quite a while now, for the first time, is coming back up into the green. That doesn't mean that this is a clear buy signal yet, because we're having very indecisive action and price action and momentum action here on Market Cipher. Now, one of the things I do want to show in confluence with what I was just saying is when we go here, I basically put together a grouping of different on-chain metrics that aren't saying that the bottom is in, but it is starting to outline that there's a massive shift in trend that's happening with on-chain metrics underlying the blockchain on Bitcoin, that's starting to show shifts in sort of actions and confidence and with what's going on in the market. And here with Binky Ponderosa, this is starting to show, basically this is a diamond hands multiple. Instead of being a short-term holder measured on a 155-day, this is a 6-month day, which is just basically a little bit further extended in terms of the moving average. And as you can see with this yellow metric here, this is coming down into an area that's in confluence on historical trends that shows, as it's outlining on the price action above here, that we are entering a zone that is very highly regarded in terms of historical action as a likely shift in trend that will come into, that could be painting that a bottom maybe near, maybe showing up soon. Now, with that being said, bottom doesn't mean that it's going to come in today, tomorrow, or next week, but it's showing that this is something we need to start keeping our eye on. As we spoke about yesterday, this still doesn't say that it's not out of the cards to still drop down to the 26 or 24K region, or even touch back down to the 29K region, but it is something to keep an eye on because there is a shift in trend happening with the long-term holder supply and short-term holder supply that could say that this action may start to be precipitated into the price action. This is further exposed here or shown here with from Blockwise, another great person you should follow on Twitter. And this basically has a trend line showing between the seller exhaustion constant on the 200-day simple moving average and the dormancy flow. Dormancy is basically how long coins are held before they're spent, essentially a short-term holder metric. And as this oscillates, this yellow line, you can see that this has actually fell into basically a symmetrical triangle pattern, and it's respected this once it's hit this lower support line 3 or 4 times in this cycle, all the way back. This would be 2017. This would be all the way back into the 2015 timeframe, and you can see we're coming up on that, and we're not quite there yet. But when we're putting these different metrics together, we're starting to see the shift in trend. And this is similarly, this is the entity adjusted dormancy flow. So this is how many different entities or unique wallets are coming out of the market in terms, especially how they're spending. And we can see here we're also already entered this very high buy zone on this on-chain metric. And these are all things that are just in confluence with saying that the sell pressure is starting to get exhausted. The weak hands are starting to get exhausted. And just the last thing I will put in on this sort of metric is, when we're looking at the fear and greed index, this is from the Rational Root, another excellent person you should follow on Twitter. But these are essentially fear and greed fractals that we're seeing when we're getting this very deep fear metric on the fear and greed index. We have this very distinct pattern that we've had the last 3 major dips, and we've entering the area right now towards the end of that, where based on this fractal, we could be seeing a shift in market confidence soon. So I'm not going to say that's going to directly relate to price, but if we're looking at this metric here as it relates to the price action, you can see as we exhaust this fear area on this metric, we do get a positive price action that comes out of that. So with that being said, those are the on-chain metrics, and I'll just briefly go over a couple quotes from some of the headlines we wanted to discuss. And this is exactly what we titled this video around, which is the White House is reportedly preparing an executive order on crypto. And essentially here it says, this is designed to look historically at digital assets and develop a new set of policies that give coherency to what the government is trying to do in this space. The next quote I'll pull out from another article regarding this. It says here, the Biden administration is preparing to release an executive action that will task federal agency with regulating digital assets such as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a matter of national security. So with that being said, I'd like to ask you, Jebb, what are your thoughts on do you think this is posturing? Do you think, what do you think this means for the greater space at large? Or what do you really think their intention is here? And do you think this is going to fall in the hands of other agencies? Or do you think maybe there's a chance they're going to come up with a separate agency that entirely to regulate this digital space?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what needs to happen. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. We need to see our own agency that regulates crypto. And a lot of people in crypto, like the crypto anarchists, are going to say, oh, Jebb says there needs to be a regulatory body around crypto. Yeah, there actually does. The thing is, regulation is coming. We have to understand that. There is no question that regulation is coming. It's a $2 trillion market. It's going to be a $100 trillion market in today's dollars in 20 years from now. There's going to be regulation. What we need to see is we need to see a healthy regulation that is actually going to help this space to thrive. There's nothing wrong with guardrails, but there is something wrong with tyranny. I was actually watching the interview that Crypto Capital Venture Dan, a good friend of mine, did with Charles Hoskinson yesterday, and Charles was talking a lot about how Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, especially DeFi, you can actually go into something called GovTech, government tech, and this is something Cardano's working on a lot, to help put in infrastructure and different tools and governance bodies so that you can hold the government accountable and fine the government if they're doing something wrong. So I encourage you, go watch that interview that Crypto Capital Venture did with Charles Hoskinson. Talks about probably about 50, 60 minutes into it. There is going to be government regulation and oversight of crypto, but one of the cool things people don't realize is that cryptocurrency can actually help us to have regulation and oversight of the government. That's something that we can do. So it's not a bad thing that regulation is coming. What could be bad is the way in which regulation is done. And the thing that is very interesting about that article and that release, and again, as we've said, I want to be the first one to tell you, it is an anonymous source. I hate anonymous sources, but this is what we have to go off of right now. And we did always know this was coming, so I do believe that this is true. Essentially, what's being said is that Bitcoin is a matter of national security, and the undertone there is that it's a national security threat. I do believe, funnily enough, that Bitcoin is a threat to the national, not security, but hegemony. I think that what we see right now is that the U.S. government has absolute authoritarian control over our currency, and that gives them control over any part of the economy that they desire, because money is the most important tool to keep the government to keep the economy going around, other than the public unity of the culture, and they also have control of that too. So the fact is, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question about that though. So one of the things that's bouncing around my brain when I'm trying to consider this also is I'm wondering if somebody like Janet Yellen or other anonymous sources within the government are even trying to find anything they can to basically spark the interest or action in terms of President Biden or anybody, any regulatory body in the U.S. government, and because they haven't been able to really get something within regulation to squash crypto, potentially maybe they're even now trying to say, okay, they're not listening, they're not getting the regulation we want, so we can squash Bitcoin and crypto. So let's use the hot button word, the target word to President Biden, that this is national security. So then now that they can get some action to further compress the crypto market.
I totally agree with you. The hot button word that gets the government to do anything that they want the rest of the government to do has been the word national security ever since 9/11. That's what we do, is we say, okay, it's a matter of national security, so we need to go and fix it. And I'm not saying that there aren't matters of national security. There absolutely are. Bitcoin is not a matter of national security. It is a matter of the public security against a tyrannical government, which is the direction we're going in. Now, we don't get political that much on this channel, but you guys do know, and I'm perfectly comfortable saying this on camera, I am a more libertarian guy. I don't like government overreach, and that's what cryptocurrency was designed to do, is to help us with people having sovereignty over our finances. So yes, I do absolutely agree that whoever is talking this way is trying to get things stirred up so that it becomes a conversation in cryptocurrency. And also with the, there's always turmoil on Capitol Hill. I'm not even commenting on that. But with the current political landscape, it wouldn't be surprising to see, the Congress and the president and the White House trying to find a common enemy that they can unite their parties against. And if they do that with cryptocurrency, then cryptocurrency could see some regulation come. Now, here's the thing. I am not worried about this. I'm really not. This is not anywhere near the top of the list of issues that the current administration is dealing with. And so I don't think we're going to have some kind of massive government overreach, a ton of regulation. This is not something that we should FUD out about. This is not something that's really scaring me all that much. In fact, this is not something that's even been confirmed yet. But we did know that regulation is coming. And the final thing I want to say is that the timing of this is very interesting. It's extremely interesting because you don't have to actually say anything is happening and make any confirmations, and you can still manipulate the price. So, Tim, I want to ask you, do you think the timing on this is suspect?
That's what I was going to chime in. First and foremost, there's two things that are suspect. One of them is the timing, and I'll get to that here in just a second. But what's even more suspect to me is the source. The White House has not commented on this. It is a source close to the White House. So that's the first thing. We have to take a deep breath, step back and take a deep breath. Nothing has happened. In fact, even that source said a few weeks from now, they're going to have an executive order. And then they're going to have an executive order, not to actually take action, but to get other agencies to start discussing this stuff. I have lots of opinions there, but I want to start with the coincidences. One, it is the source. I'm looking at that a little fishy. The second is the timing. And the reason I say it's the timing is this is right on the back of the Fed announcement, which also was big. And I know this is older news. Like, we've actually been hearing these rumors for a while. So why raise up a stink again yesterday? Why yesterday? And for anyone who says that technical analysis is not reliable right now, I want to fight that a little bit, but give you one thing. If you are looking at nothing but technical analysis, I absolutely agree. You're probably not going to get a full picture. But if you're looking at nothing but the news and not looking at those news headlines and then going back and looking at the charts, you're also going to get wrecked because we are in a season of manipulation. And what happens in manipulation is that news headlines are put out at strategic times to FUD people out of the market or FOMO people into the market. On the back of the Fed announcement, putting an article that gives us no new information, that just stirs up something with a new headline saying national security, it falls under that line of funny timing for manipulation. This is going to scare a lot of people, despite the fact that we actually have no idea what the details of the story are, but it makes people scared. That's what the composite man, if you're listening to Wyckoff's rules, that's what the composite man wants to do at all times. I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Watch what happens between headlines that are factual or rumors. Rumored bearish articles like this one are usually put semi-close to the bottom to shake out the weak hands so that institutional money can come in and get the supply at a low rate. When we start getting to the top of markets or when it's time for the price to reverse, watch for rumors or opinion articles to be very bullish. This will make people FOMO into the market and buy, and then the institutions sell, take their profit, and wait for the price to come back down. I'm of the opinion that we need to wait a couple of weeks and actually wait for the official executive order, which doesn't announce anything. It just says, hey, executive order, all of the agencies responsible for this, let's get together and let's start deciding what we want to do. Again, I'll comment on that later if we get back to it. But let's wait for that before we actually start doing anything. To me, I actually see this as a bullish sign.
Yeah.
You know, what's quite funny about all this is that it's an anonymous source, followed by it may happen in a few weeks, and then once that may happen, then it would still be timeout before anything happens. So it's in a way,
like the Fed. Sounds like the Fed's like, oh, it might happen in March. You know, we might change. We might decide to start changing things. Then we might begin to start doing a thing in March, and then in 50 years we'll try. It's possible. It's possible. Is all I'm saying. Yeah. It's posturing also, as you said. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I was just saying it's posturing. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all we can do, just like every day, for anybody that doesn't know too, I'll share this so you guys and gals can follow along with this. But it's to follow along with, if you go to on your Google, go to newsnow.com. You can find basically just a scrolling list of headlines to keep in track with Bitcoin, with the news regarding politics, regarding anything. And this is one of those other great ways to, beyond the fear and greed index, to get the market sentiment index, kind of figure out what's being said and follow all these stories. This is one of the ways that we go and track what's going on. So it's a really, really useful tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Smay, I want to hear you chime in on this. What is your stance on regulation? Do you think in 10 years we're going to see a regulatory landscape that is actually conducive to the growth of this industry, or do you think that the government is going to get so scared of Bitcoin having, being a threat to the U.S. dollar that they're going to try and regulate it into oblivion?
Well, Jebb, I'd like to say, I too share your political beliefs. Honestly, guys, the word regulation is such a dirty, nasty word. I hate it. It's like when you hear it going, it's like the word moist. You're like, oh gosh, regulation. But guys, in this case, as much as I hate regulation and the idea of it, this is one of those opportunities, and I talked with Tim about it the other day. I'll call back to a conversation I had. I don't know if I said it on stream or I said it to Tim or something like that, but I firmly believe that 2022 will be the year of regulatory clarity. This is going to be the year where we start to find out the government's stance on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. But anyways, what I was saying was this is really an opportunity, right? That a lot of institutions that aren't already in Bitcoin are going to hear what they need to hear to feel comfortable finally investing in the asset. Because ultimately right now, as much as we love the decentralized nature of Bitcoin and not that that's going away, but we love the Wild West nature of there's no regulation and we can really do whatever we want. A lot of institutions don't like that because it doesn't make them feel safe. So there's a lot of money on the sideline waiting for something clear and they know what that's going to look like jumping into it. So I think ultimately we're going to see what this can end up being is a positive effect for increasing the development of the space and bringing a lot more money into the space, depending on what that regulation looks like, obviously. If it becomes too much of a disadvantage, then I think it's one of those things that like, hey, honestly, and this is kind of one of those things. It's like, unfortunately, hey, if they come bringing down the hammer on cryptocurrency, the thing is the technology they really can't control.
Yep.
You know, no matter what, they can't actually they can't literally take control of the technology, right? So, you know, at the end of the day, there's going to be a point where if they try to do anything, if they try to, and they know this, if they try to come hard on it, right, it's going to end up being something that it's just not going to work out for them, and there's going to be a lot of pushback, and people are going to do it anyways. So it's one of those things. I think in the future, what we're going to see in the next 10, 15 years of regulation is going to be something that brings it up to the standard of, you know, the rest of the financial space, and makes it safer for institutions to invest in. But I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to radically shift, because they know there will be pushback if they try to take it any further.
It is way too big to completely stop now. Tim, you want to make a final point?
Yeah, well, carrying on with what Smay's saying, and this is part of the conversation him and I were having. Do you guys remember a couple months ago where, what's the name of the Coinbase CEO?
Brian Armstrong.
Brian Armstrong. Okay, so the SEC started to go after Brian Armstrong for a second, and accuse him of different things. And I remember this was really big because he was saying, listen, there's no rules. You guys have not given me anything. I will more than gladly follow everything you put in my place, but you've never given me any guidelines. It's the same thing with like playing a sport with no rules. Who wants to play a sport or a competition and not know clearly what the rules of the game are? How do you know if you win or lose? How do you know if you're in violation or if you're legal? I think that there's a lot of institutional money that are waiting for rules to be put in place. And as much as I love that take, it's like the word moist. Regulation is a really dirty, nasty word, and none of us want it, but it is inevitable, and it's going to come.
I shouldn't have said that.
And I love it. I'm so glad you said it.
Like
I think that there's actually a lot of institutional money that is like sitting on the sideline saying, I want to play, I just don't know how yet. Tell me how to play, and then I'll come.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I think that's a really good point, guys, is that regulation is a good or a bad thing depending on how it is implemented. I'm really curious to see what the executive branch is going to try and do here, because they obviously are scared of this. And by the way, I am fully aware that the Federal Reserve is not a government entity. It was set up to be some kind of blend of public and private, and it was a complete and total failure. But yeah, the fact of the matter is that this regulation is going to be very interesting. It's going to have a lot of implications, but it will allow for businesses to actually grow. We're about to jump into our next intermission, read some super chats. Guys, make sure to smash those like buttons, that like button. We've got 3,000 people watching. Hit that like button. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Really quickly, before we move on, though, I do want to mention where this show is brought to you by. It is brought to you by a Roth IRA and an IRA investment vehicle called ITrust Capital. ITrust Capital allows you to invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies with your IRA and with your Roth IRA, which gives you all kinds of tax advantages like tax deferral. Makes it a lot easier to not have to report every single individual transaction. And basically what an IRA does is it allows you to put all of your cryptocurrency in this little bubble so that the entire bubble is taxed instead of every single little individual part is taxed. So if you have a retirement account and you've been wanting to invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies with it, ITrust Capital is the #1 in the entire cryptocurrency space in the number of people that use it. In their Google reviews, there are so many 5-star Google reviews. They've got over 100,000 reviews. They have some of the lowest fees. They have about 15 to 17 different cryptocurrencies. All of the large major cryptos, Polkadot, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, ADA, all of those cryptocurrencies are there. You can even trade gold and silver on there if you're a gold or a silver bug. So make sure you sign up for ITrust Capital. The link is in the description box down below. Go and enjoy those tax advantages, because although we don't have a lot of regulatory clarity, we do at least have a little bit of regulatory clarity around how the market is supposed to be actually taxed. And so ITrust Capital is going to help you to defer as many of those taxes as possible, or not even pay as many of those taxes as possible, because taxes, you might not have realized, are actually your biggest expense in crypto. You can end up paying 10, 20, 30, 40% in taxes if you are making a lot of money. Investing with a retirement account is a way to lower those taxes and keep more of your money where it's growing here in the cryptocurrency space. So make sure to check them out. Link is in the description box down below. But we're going to go ahead and read some super chats if we have any. And then I actually have one chat that I want to read that is not a super chat, but that I do want to address. So let's go ahead and do it.
Even to segue us into that, this isn't a super chat, just a normal chat. And to just, we do the best we can to answer as many questions as possible. So Tyler Smith said something that I don't know if I 100% agree with, but I think it's a great point to make. He said the exec order is to research crypto, aka they are finally taking crypto seriously. I think, yes, they're taking it seriously. I don't think that means all positive, but I think Tyler is right that the details were so vague that for all we know, it will simply be they actually start looking into it. Because that's something I think several politicians have come out and said, is that in all reality, we're trying to talk about something we have no idea what it actually even is. So That's fun. Let's go to some super chats though. Tyler Smith, thank you for that comment.
I would just I'd like to note Jebb's poll that he decided to put in the chat and
I
thought no one would notice.
Is regulation moist?
Golly.
Please answer that. Yes, it is moist. It is. Please answer that. I voted yes. Please vote yes.
What in the world?
All right, keep moving on. Carlos C said, your thoughts on Engine, and do any of you guys own Engine?
I personally don't, but Kelly, I think you've done some stuff with Engine. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Have you done?
Yeah, Engine is an incredible project. One of the things I like about Engine as it compares or relates to other gaming projects and blockchain projects out there is that Engine is one of those coins that is essentially meant to be utilized for, essentially an engine for gaming, play to earn games and metaverse projects and all the versus being like Axie Infinity, which is more directly related to a specific project or the things that fall under that umbrella. So it's much like we were talking about yesterday in our members chat, which is quite fun yesterday after the stream. For anybody that's not a member, definitely go down and click join now. You can participate in those. But essentially, one of the things you don't need to, like with NFT projects or gaming projects, sometimes if you're not sure about the specific project you want to be involved with, or NFT or metaverse or any of these specific niches, you don't have to specifically go out and get an exact coin for that project. You can also get different blockchain projects or look into them or invest in them or trade them that are based on the niche at large. Like an Engine is one of those projects. So I think it's going to have a huge future ahead of it.
You can almost say it's a blockchain gaming engine. You see what I did there? I'm sorry. I had to.
I feel like not enough people are going to understand the term engine in terms of video games. So
yeah, but I mean, it's like a combustion engine.
But gaming engine. Yeah, that's a thing.
That's funny.
William Turr if you wanted to say something, William Turr, at me or something, because I don't see a comment here, but thank you for your donation. Joker's performance. What do you think about the spring of 21 as one shoulder, fall of 21 as head, and spring of 21 playing the right shoulder? So this, I think, is continuing that thought of, are we in a head and shoulders pattern?
Yeah, no, we actually talked about that yesterday, and I think that so you're talking about this right here, I believe. This is not going to be a head and shoulders pattern because this is not tall enough to be a head. That could be a triple top. I mean, we could see that happen, but this at the moment is just a M. That's called an M pattern because it's looks like an M. That's all that is right now. But this is a head and shoulders pattern, as we talked about. I initially said, hey, I don't think this is going to be a head and shoulders pattern because it didn't really touch the way I thought it would. At this point, I would say that it is a head and shoulders pattern. I'm actually going to address that here in a little bit.
Yeah, the thing to remember about that before we even leave there is the concept of, for sure, be aware that a head and shoulders pattern has formed. It is a head and shoulders pattern. But just scroll back just a little bit more, and we had a head and shoulders pattern formed back in the beginning of 2021 that didn't play out. So what do I do with that information? I now say, hey, guess what? Not 100% of these play out fully. So I'm going to keep my eyes on other things that will confirm or negate a head and shoulders pattern playing out all the way down to 25,000. Definitely possible, but it is possible it won't. I think one more super chat from Crypto Set Guy. And so it's funny because the way Taylor does this is she copy and pastes them, puts them in a document so we can get them. But he just put an emoji, so it says funny shocked emoji. So that's not what he said, but that is what he was doing.
That's pretty funny. Well, thank you very much for all of the super chats, guys. I actually want to address one comment, and then we're going to move on here into Ethereum. Corey Hinman in chat, he said about 15, 20 minutes ago, he said, 2 weeks ago you said we'd never see a sub $30,000 Bitcoin and that it wasn't a head and shoulders pattern because it's not a bull market. What a flip-flopper. So I want to address that because I want to make sure you guys understand what technical analysis is and how we are successful in technical analysis. It's very important that we're able to change our opinion on the fly in light of new data. The data that we had 2-3 weeks ago said, okay, $30,000 is possible, but it is very unlikely. So the best I can do at any given time is tell you and say, hey, this is what I see. This is the prediction that I'm able to make. And in light of new evidence, we as analysts need to be able to flip our opinions on the fly. We're not politicians where this is a moral standard and we're going to change, oh, I believe in this, and I believe in this, and I believe in this, because, oh, I've gone and thought differently about it. No, there's new evidence coming into the market. There's new technical analysis being done. There's new price updates. There's new news. There's new market fundamentals that are happening. There's new things that we've learned. And so, yes, we do change our tune quite a bit, actually. And the reason we do that is because we want to make sure that we're not sticking to an opinion that we don't actually believe in anymore just because we already said it. And whenever we change our tune, we'll be the first to tell you. I did say about 2-3 weeks ago that I'm not totally confident that this is a head and shoulders pattern. I'm also not totally confident that we're going to go down to $30,000. It does look like that's what's happening now. And so I just wanted to address that and make sure you guys know, to be great analysts, you have to be willing to change your tune on the fly, because anything else is pride.
The other thing to remember, and we push this several times, is, guys, we are only here to tell you our opinion. Opinions, we want everyone to have their own opinion. If our opinion helps you form your opinion, that's awesome. But if you just default turn off your brain to think through and look at technical analysis and to read the news and analyze it for yourself, we are not doing our job. Actually, what we want is everyone to think for themselves.
Yep.
So his name was Corey.
Yeah, Corey.
I want you to know, like, please keep coming back.
Yeah,
give criticism. Give us your opinion. Iron sharpens iron, not in a fun way. When iron sharpens iron, it's rough. It makes a lot of sounds. It might make some sparks. It actually strips away other iron, but that's the way people get better, is by consistently having different opinions come in and clash with each other.
Yep.
That's the purpose of the show. And so, Corey, I love that you commented that, and I hope that really helps.
Yeah, and the final thing I want to say on that is that humility is not saying, oh, I suck at everything. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking about yourself less. And so what humility is us being willing to change our opinions on the fly. Our corest of core values, we have 6 core values here at Crypto Jebb. I'm not going to go through all of them. Integrity is one of them. Humility is another one of them. What humility means is being willing to change your opinion on the fly in the light of new evidence. What humility means lowering myself so I can elevate you and help you become better. So if I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong consistently, I'm going to say, man, maybe I need to look at something. Maybe I'm missing something. I really want you guys to succeed. And that takes me admitting when I've said something that didn't happen. So I didn't think that this was a head and shoulders pattern. Turns out it is turning into a head and shoulders pattern. And in the spirit of humility, I want to make sure that I am humbly accepting that criticism because it's fair. But I also want to make sure that you guys fully understand how we're supposed to look at the markets, because I believe that we are taking the proper approach in saying, hey, this is new evidence. Let's make sure that we're staying updated on the fly. We have one final super chat, Tim.
We did. It came in from, let's see, I'll find it on this thing because I saw it and I responded to him in text. But Joker's Performance just said, okay, thank you for the clarity. And so, yeah. Yeah,
thank you so very much, Jokers. We really appreciate that. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on over to Ethereum. Ethereum's currently sitting at $2,417, and it is in a very interesting position, as is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a head and shoulders pattern now that is pointing down to $25,000. I'm personally not convinced that we're going to go all the way down to $25,000, but there is a very solid argument to be made that we're going to go down to 30 at this point. We're so close. Oftentimes there's a magnetism to trend lines, to support and resistance levels. It probably will drag itself down to 30K. We'll see. I don't want to bet on that, but it is in the cards. And Ethereum's kind of seeing something similar right now. We can see on the 4-hourly chart that there is this bull flag that is playing out right now based on the last little bit of price action. We can see that Ethereum has gone into a small uptrend right now, and if it were to play out this bear flag, I'm sorry, I said bull flag, this bear flag, if it were to play out this bear flag, we would see it drop all the way down to 1775, which is our previous level of support that we set back earlier on last year, and that would actually make a lot of sense. It would mean that Ethereum would have the opportunity to quadruple bottom down here at 1776. I'm just going to call it 1776 because I really like what happened that year. But we can also see that it might pull back down there, and then Bitcoin may very well do the same thing. But let's take a look at some of our technicals and see what they are saying. Number one, we are not seeing bullish MACD divergence on Ethereum in the same way that we were on Bitcoin. We're seeing lower lows on price action and on MACD. I think that's largely down to the fact that Ethereum has dropped much more rapidly ever since Christmas than Bitcoin has. Ethereum dropped 46% in that time, and Bitcoin only dropped 35% in that time. Ethereum was holding itself really well back in November and early December, but right around Christmas, it started to jump off the metaphorical cliff and caught up with Bitcoin's retracement. Now I think they're both going to go to their similar previous lows that we saw happen in July. That's why we're not seeing that MACD bullish divergence. Now, on the RSI, we're actually sitting very low on RSI. We're currently sitting at 26. That is the lowest level that we've seen on RSI since March of 2020. So it's been almost 2 years since we've seen RSI go that low, and that's because we are seeing a major capitulation event happening over the course of the last couple of months. And Tim, I want to ask you this. What do you make of Bitcoin and specifically Ethereum having RSIs that low? Does that mean we're about to see a bounce, or does that mean that the bears are so much in charge that we actually are going to see those July lows?
Seeing them on a time frame like the daily chart, it's one of these things. It's the bottom is close. That doesn't mean and close in two ways. One in terms of price, and the other in terms of time. And when you talk about time, that's a big thing. Is Smay and I actually several times have conversations. We start disagreeing with each other, and then we pause. We're like, wait, are you talking about like hours, days, weeks, months? Because that's a big deal. So when I say close, I'm talking weeks. When I say close in price, I'm talking weeks. Like maybe the price goes down as far as, I think, Jebb, what you said, even using your analysis you just used about the bear pennant or the bear flag, we could go down to 1,700, maybe 1,750. If that happens, I've said this before, it's the exact same formation on Bitcoin, which would take us down to 25,000. I think the two are pretty correlated. You're not going to get one and not the other. However, there's also a case that, guess what? There's a time where pennants and flags end up reversing. There's a chance it goes to the upside. There's a chance it goes to the downside. What you have to do is now say, all right, I'm not going to live and die by this one formation. I'm going to go find other things that back this up as well. What we're seeing on Ethereum, again, is almost stinking identical to what we're seeing on Bitcoin. And that is, you can go to my chart real quick, Smay. The first thing is, when I say it's identical, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to flip back and forth. I bet you, unless you look at that corner, you really couldn't tell which chart I'm looking at. They are so close. The only difference is if you know that Bitcoin had this little double top right there. That's the difference between it and Ethereum, whereas Ethereum's a little more rounded. But on the daily chart, we are still very much in this downtrend. It's the weekly chart that I want you guys to know. People call this hopium, but at the end of the day, people do need hope. And by the way, people playing that game, I just said end of the day again. So I know you guys love that. Anyway, this right here, this massive bullish RSI divergence we have set up for a long time is still into effect. And I want to clarify. If we go down to 17, if we go down to like this bottom right here around 1900, or if we go on these wicks right here around 1700, we will still be in bullish RSI divergence. We'll flip from strong bullish to what's called it's called weak bullish. But just so you know, weak bullish divergence and strong bullish divergence are the two that actually call for a reversal of trends. It's hidden and medium divergence that call for a continuation. What we do not see forming right now is a continuation divergence for bearish movement to the downside. We do see the bullish setting up. And so I say we are close. What does that mean? It does not mean we can't go down. It does not mean the price isn't going to go maybe as far, I don't think it will, but it may be as far as 1750. But what it does mean is we are narrowing in and getting close both in time and in price to seeing a bottom. And the point is, continue to watch, continue to look out, watch the charts, watch the news, listen, and form opinions for yourself. Because if all you do is go to Twitter or Instagram or YouTube and you just follow what somebody else is saying, when people say this person will get you wrecked, they'll only get you wrecked if you stop thinking for yourself. If you listen, chew the meat, spit out the bones, and make your own decisions, you're going to make a very good investment coming very soon with both Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep it moving here, guys. I have some other technicals I want to show you. First and foremost, if we look at the weekly chart here on Ethereum, as he said, we are seeing some massive bullish RSI divergence showing up on the weekly chart. That is remarkable. But on the weekly chart, there's also several other things that we can see. Namely, we have actually just hit a 9 flash on TD sequential, a bearish 9 flash. The last time we saw that happen on Ethereum, you have to go a long way back to see it. It was actually back over here, and then eventually we did see a major rally form. You don't see it happen very often on the chart. My chart just glitched out. Let me go ahead and reload the page. Sometimes the drawing tool messes up a little bit. But the other thing to show you here on the weekly chart is where the point of control is on VPVR. VPVR point of control is sitting right here at $1,800, which would make a lot of sense because that is where the market would likely go down to if my prediction of $1,800 were to happen. But the other thing to take a look at here is the fact that we're actually very overextended on the Bollinger Bands. We have pushed very far into the Bollinger Bands, and the Bollinger Bands are very wide. I actually want to see the Bollinger Bands be wide because the Bollinger Bands being wide tells us that the market has a lot of volatility. We're seeing the volume is up, and there's actually still a lot of people there buying into these projects. So, Smay, I want to wrap out this segment on Ethereum with your take on this. What do you think Ethereum is going to do? Do you think it's going to go down to $1,800, or do you think it's going to bounce more sooner than that?
I got to be honest with you. I'm not exactly super into seeing what's happening with Ethereum. But just from I think just extrapolating from where I think everything else is what everything else is going to kind of do for a little bit. I just think there's just nothing has happened yet that if say there is a rally or any kind of price movement, I don't think it's going to be a big one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think we're going to be moving within a very, very small range for a little bit until something changes that fact. Nothing as what do you say? It's like the trend is your friend till it ends or whatever. It's like until something comes to be the anomaly that changes the narrative here. There's no reason to expect something big either way. So I think it'll probably be staying within this little range that it's in for a little bit, and I think that applies to pretty much most of the coins happening. Most of the coins right now, unless something is the catalyst that drives some kind of price movement, or there's huge institutional adoption. So.
Yeah, I think
can I share something on my screen as well? I wanted to share this right here. This is just a trend line that we had found directly from the peak in September. This found perfect confluence as basically resistance here in October, and this line has been the line in the sand exactly where we've had some wicks past it, but the candle bodies here on the daily have basically just been following this trend line here. So I do think that if we fall below where this area is right here, I do think we're going to have quite a bit more downside than we expect. So maybe the $1,700 to $1,900 range. But I'm starting to see shifting in confidence and sort of a confluence in the seller exhaustion, as we pointed out earlier. So I do think it's more likely that this will hold, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. So I would just watch for either a bounce off of this and then a confirmation with continued upside and multiple candles, or if we're not getting a wick, but we're getting a candle closure below this, then we'll definitely be seeing some further downside.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and jump into some super chats. I think we might have one. If not, we can just read some normal chat.
Yeah, let me see here. We have, it looks like two of them. Jeremiah 0007. Sorry, there's three of them.
There's three of them.
Opinion. Hey guys, not sure if you talked about it yet, but what do you think about Russia's president now saying that vitamins should be regulated?
Vitamins?
Listen, I'm just reading the chat.
I mean, vitamins are already regulated in most places, aren't they?
Is this more like the debate about whether it's even relevant what they're doing?
I think that's probably the point they're making.
Jeremiah, if you want to clarify that question,
you want to clarify, you go right ahead. Yeah.
Eric Leon said, when the market dips again, I'm buying all the chain link and kissing it on the mouth.
Whoa, okay.
And then he put a question mark.
Doing that.
That's not like a statement, but if you're asking us, no, I'm not kissing chain link on the mouth. I like chain link, but not
doing that. No, I mean, chain link's a great project.
I like it.
But,
I do like it.
But yeah, okay. Other chats. Let's see. The poll has been conclusive, Smay. What do you think about that?
I voted no. You're talking the second one?
I voted no too.
No.
Yeah,
I voted no too. And
I
vote no to both of them. I vote no to both of them. I'm Turtle King.
You are Turtle King.
You are Turtle King.
He is Turtle King.
What was the first one?
I don't even want to say it. It makes me sick.
I didn't know the first one had anything to do with Spain.
It makes me sick.
Maybe I missed it.
Okay. Let's see. What else we got here? Do we have any other super chats?
The super chats are done. I'm looking through chat to see if there's anything.
We got a lot of people talking about Monty Python in chat. Monty Python. Yeah. Tim, have you ever seen Monty Python?
Well, first of all, Monty Python is a group.
I know.
The movie.
Are you talking about the Holy Grail?
The Holy Grail, yeah.
Which is a phenomenal movie.
I've seen that movie like 20 times.
Yeah, it's
so funny.
Tis but a flesh wound.
Tis but a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Any other super chat questions? Oh, here we go. Booty Brown just donated. Said, pretty sure he meant Russia regulating crypto. That's what Putin said instead of banning. He wants Russia to dominate mining. Yeah, let's talk about Russia and mining a little bit. They've got a lot of very cheap energy, and they've also got very cold temperatures, which help to keep the market, which help to keep the miners cool. So, Kelly, let me ask you this. Do you think Russia is going to try and move in the direction of mining Bitcoin? They've always been a nation that specializes in, type 1 economies being resource extraction. Maybe they'll end up doing the exact same thing with crypto mining.
I think there's there's so much to speculate on here, and with the news we covered yesterday regarding President Putin saying that Russia has a competitive advantage. They do have, they run their entire government and energy sector different than we do here in the U.S. That's the first thing. They have a lot more control over how and what they're doing and what ways that they're either regulating or utilizing their energy sector. With the fact that they do have access to, like you said yesterday, the coal mining, but also they have a ton of essentially unused energy, which is true of any nation. We mentioned this yesterday. Every energy sector across the world, basically, they did a report on it about 2 years ago. Wastes basically over 30% is essentially energy that's produced that's never utilized.
Losses, yeah.
Right, and so And Smay made the excellent point that, you know, in all reality, when people are wondering what Bitcoin really is, it's literally just a transition of harnessing energy and turning it into monetary power, right?
Yep.
So that I think that I can't say that they have a competitive advantage. I think the only competitive advantage that they really have is the fact that that the way their government operates can be a lot more decisive in the sense of not that it's good or bad in terms of the decisions they're making, but when they're moving on on an issue, they can be a lot more stringent and effective in enforcing that exact thing. So if especially U.S. right now with this executive order coming down, if we're basically seen to be either quaking in our boots, being slow to act, being indecisive about that actually puts us in an incredibly uncompetitive disadvantage to every nation in the world, because this technology moves at literally the speed of light. And so if we can't keep up with it and start getting our sort of decisions made about this and our regulatory clarity, then regardless of the energy, regardless of competitive advantages, we are just at a disadvantage immediately because of our indecisiveness.
Yeah, and I think that's something.
I'm not even sure if I answered your question, but that's where my mind went.
No, and I think the thing that we need to remember is that we need to not let Russia, if Russia plays any hardball with the pipelines and with the natural gas and with stuff in crypto, they hurt themselves too. So let's keep that in mind, is that Russia obviously hurts themselves if they try and do too much of that. Let's go ahead and read some super chats.
We got some more of these. Matt C just said, wanted to wish you guys a great weekend. Buy the dip if you can. If you can't, sit back, relax, and enjoy a moist cookie.
There you go.
Tony K said, when will altcoins pump? You opened up a whole bunch.
I really shouldn't have said that.
When will altcoins pump?
When will altcoins pump?
We discussed that a little bit earlier.
After Bitcoin pumps for about a month, altcoins will probably start blowing up.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think the altcoins are going to be the afterburner. Bitcoin's going to get started, and then the altcoins are going to come in and go, and we're going to see the whole market.
Just a month seems long to me. I think
maybe less.
Maybe a week or two.
Maybe a week or two.
Nick, yeah, we go. Nick Caruso.
Jackaruso. That's a cool name.
That actually might be right. Have y'all looked into Casper? CSPR.
I have not. Kelly, you're the altcoin guy. Have you looked into Casper?
I have not looked into Casper, and I will make it my vow to you that I'll look into it right after the stream.
There you go.
I'm always curious about these new projects.
You got a vow.
There's good names in chat. Meraz Melakudi said, hey, fellas, 8X final audit just came out. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I meant to mention that earlier. It did just come out, and Kelly actually has the deets on that. So, Kelly, can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, just saw this. I'm not sure if this is sharing my correct screen. No, it's not.
It's on your DMs
whatever.
Right now.
It's okay. Essentially, 8X Pro. They just tweeted out, so they must have finally gotten basically they had a full audit from BT Block, who's a fairly well respected and renowned audit company that has done a number of different blockchain projects. And the fact that, and this is a good example of what you should be looking for when you're looking into any project. The fact that 8X is launching their DEX this Sunday, and they've been able to transparently have somebody else go through and look through all their coding, their security, the way everything's being run. And I'm going to read through this as soon as this is done. And I would expect that because they've posted it, that it probably will show that the transparency and the truth of action and the security is all going to be positive. And so this, like I said, this is something you should look for any project you're looking into. And the fact that they're launching on January 30th, this Sunday, and they have this full audit coming out, I think this is going to be very, very good going into their launch, and just support not only confidence in the project, but also if this audit is a positive thing, then that means that we can also expect some consistency in the way that the DEX is run and security and all the things that you want to look for. So this is great going into their launch.
There you go. Boom sauce. Cool. Let's keep going.
Well, we had a super chat that came in. Oh, it got retracted. He said Aaron Evans pretty much echoed the same question, but I think that Kelly just answered that one. So
cool. Thank you.
Let me see. I'm looking through chat because I think that's all for supers. But you know what we could transition to is maybe one or two altcoins of choice. I do see someone asking for .TA.
We can do
But what we can do is let you guys spam for, let's say, 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
What altcoin you would like to see. And again, I'll probably choose one. We'll do one. All right. DOT has already been voted, but if you want to agree with that, put it there. And if you don't,
let's see what it is. Smay, what are your thoughts on all of the things that we've talked about? Do you have any just general thoughts on all the content today?
Good content today.
That's a great thought.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
you gotta-
It was an
If
unspecific
you don't
question.
give me,
It wasn't a great
look,
question.
If you
okay?
don't give me a specific question,
I'll
I'm
give
not
you
going to
that.
give you a specific
Okay,
answer.
I have a specific question for you. Who's your favorite person in chat?
My favorite person in chat.
Well, we know who
No, now
in
you would-
chat is their favorite
Yeah,
person.
true.
Now you would think I would say JT Skinner.
You would
And
yeah.
as much
I would
as I
think.
really like JT Skinner, I appreciate your support. We don't always see eye to eye. You know who my favorite person in chat is?
Who?
Let me pick real quick.
Let me pick real quick.
Alan Carey. I really like Alan.
Alan Carey.
You're
There
my
you
favorite.
go. Shout
I
out
like
to
you,
Alan Carey.
I like you, Alan Carey.
Shout out to
You're my
Alan
favorite.
Carey. Guys, by the way, smash that like button. We've got 3,000 people watching. We can get to 1,300 here in a little bit. Tim,
This is hard to choose.
pick a winner. It is hard.
This is very hard to choose. There's a lot of different ones in here. Vechain is definitely up there. ADA is, always going to be there. Dot.
Hey, we
there were
haven't done
several dots.
VeChain in a while. We should
We can do
Let's do
VeChain.
VeChain.
Let's do
It has
VeChain.
been a minute since VeChain.
We have not done VeChain in
Let's
a
do
while.
it.
Let's go ahead and do VeChain over dollar over on Bitfinex. At the moment right now, guys, VeChain has a lot of interesting things going on its price action. It is currently sitting down at, I don't like this. This is not the right chart, is it? Let me go ahead and go on over to VeChain over on CoinMarketCap here. It's sitting at 5 cents, $3.5 billion market cap, and I want to find a different chart. I don't like that chart. Let's see here. VET over dollar on Binance. This will work right here. So it's currently sitting at 0.5 cents, and we can see that it does have a downtrending level of support right here that is currently bouncing off of. It has undergone quite a bit of capitulation ever since April, and it did not actually go back to the same local high that it did before. It initially ran up to about 30 cents, and then it ran up to about 18 cents this time. It's down 83% from all-time high. This instantly tells me that if you believe in this project, that you're entering a pretty solid buy territory, because VeChain is a very, very good project. As far as some of our technicals are concerned, looking here on the daily chart, overextended on Bollinger Bands. We can look at TD sequential, and I have a feeling we have a green 9 flash. We do. The whole market converged in that area. We can see volume very low, not very encouraging there. Let's look out to the weekly chart. I want to see if there's a weekly chart TD sequential. There is green TD sequential there, just like the rest of the market, looking like it wants to reverse. Out here on the weekly chart, we do not have any RSI divergence. Let's look for MACD divergence. No MACD divergence there either. In fact, MACD is still continuing to move to the downside.
Wait, hold on. There's did you say there's an RSI bullish divergence on the weekly?
Where?
All right, so go to the date back in November, early November. Let's go to the
Of 2020?
second. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I see that. That's true.
Yeah,
there is bullish RSI divergence there.
I mean, that probably would show up on the monthly chart.
That's true. No,
Yeah.
that is true. There is bullish RSI divergence there. And we actually, speaking of the monthly chart, we actually just had a bearish MACD cross on the monthly chart, so that's not too encouraging here on VeChain. But also looking down on the 3-daily chart, we do see that there is some bullish MACD divergence. So this is solid. This bullish MACD divergence is definitely going to be something that I'll pay attention to here on VeChain. Looking down on the daily chart, it looks like we're about to have a bullish MACD cross, and there is bullish MACD divergence as well. Lower lows, higher lows here. We don't see bullish RSI divergence on daily chart, at least in the shorter term time frames, but we do see it showing up here on the MACD, so that is very solid. Let's take a look at Lux Algo down on the different zones. I'm gonna look at 4-hourly chart. I have a feeling it's gonna say the same thing.
gonna be pretty similar.
We're actually confirmed downtrend again. We did go confirmed uptrend on 4-hourly chart, but now we're confirmed downtrend, so that's interesting. 6-hour chart, still confirmed uptrend. 8-hour chart, let's see, still confirmed, not a confirmed uptrend actually. Never had a buy signal. That's interesting. Looking at 12-hourly chart, we have an uptrend on oscillator, not a confirmed uptrend on 12-hour chart, and I'm almost certain it's not on daily chart yet. No confirmed uptrend on daily chart either. So very interesting predicament VeChain finds itself in. What I would encourage you to do with VeChain is look at it a little bit like Cardano. Don't focus on the price, focus on the fundamentals. The fundamentals are growing quite a bit. I do think it's a good project, and when you build great fundamentals, the price will come. Amazon at one point had undergone massive, 60, 70, 80, 90% retracements from its all-time high back in the 90s, but because they grew the fundamentals, the price would eventually explode, and the market capitalization is in the trillions now. So just think about that when you're looking at cryptocurrencies. The technicals are important, but if you're looking at the long term and you're planning on investing in these projects, you need to be looking at the fundamentals, and I haven't done a ton of research on the fundamentals of VeChain in the last couple of years, but from what I hear, it is undergoing a lot of very bullish updates and developments as we speak. Awesome.
Yep.
Any other super chats?
Yep.
Full screen.
We have one, and yeah, so Dr. Fuzzy Eyeball, I don't know if he likes me or if he really doesn't like me, because he says, with so much current uncertainty, I would like to Tim, I think he meant for Tim, to give us some sort of prediction that he is very confident in. And this seems like the type of gauntlet that I'll either become a hero or I'll be beheaded. And because when you make a prediction that you say that I'm super confident in, then if it comes true again, like I said, people are gonna be like, "Oh, Tim called it. Tim is amazing." And then if it goes wrong,
I got one for you, buddy. I got one for you.
This
is exactly what we talked about, and all of us are aware of. Here's the prediction. And I'm confident in it with basically near certainty that if you zoom out on the chart over the next 10 years, it will be up and to the right.
I'm very confident.
I am confident.
I'm basically certain
that
of that.
Bitcoin will grow as the U.S. dollar dies.
Yeah, for real.
No, what I'll say is, and again, I will temper the word confident. I am expecting, and I've said this, and I'll just repeat it. I am expecting for the 4-hourly chart, which currently on Bitcoin is, in my opinion, still in an uptrend. I'm expecting that price to turn. We're going to get some bearish divergence. We're going to come back down and have a daily candle close below $35,000. Now, whether we have a wick go down into the 29s, whether the candle body closes below the 29s, we're going to close below 35, but the RSI is not going to get that low. It's going to set up strong daily bullish RSI divergence, and we might continue to move sideways / down for a little bit because that has happened in the past, but I do believe that is the sign that it is time to rally back up, at least to hover in the $42,000 to $46,000 region, which is where a lot of different whales and institutions believe the price should be anyway, due to where they bought a significant amount of Bitcoin. That is my semi-confident prediction about the Bitcoin price.
There you go. Well, we got one final super chat. We're going to read that, and then we're going to wrap it out.
All right. Lock423 said, after my question yesterday, did any of you do any research on Vivi? Yeah, we did a little bit. If so, can you give your thoughts, please? If not, can you do a video, please? Seems like a great opportunity to make millions. Smay actually is the one that had some interesting points here. So Smay, what is your thought?
Well, I didn't do any.
Remember we talked about. So we talked about it's the one it's affiliated with Disney.
Oh,
and with Marvel.
yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is an interesting topic.
So I'll say this, guys. I don't know the specifics of Vivi, but if it is what I think it is in terms of it has to do with using NFTs as a means to exchange licenses for content, as in movies or music, right? Right now, there was something. So basically, movie theaters, if you don't know, when a movie theater receives a movie, right? Like let's say a movie theater receives Spider-Man: No Way Home, right? Once that comes in, it comes in a physical drive, right? They get the physical drive, and it has a lock on it that will only open, and it's a digital lock, but it has a lock in the hard drive that says they cannot access that content until, I think it's like a day before they release it, right? So the thing is about that, what NFTs can do is basically completely overhaul that whole system, and instead of having to send physical drives or anything like that, you can actually send movies as an NFT with a smart contract that actually does that affects it of when you're able to access it. So there's that, and I think it can completely revolutionize the way that movies are distributed across theater chains, and then so on. You can even do that same argument with music and so on. So I think that's a great potential value proposition for these kind of NFT projects and in terms of the media space. So
there you go.
That was my thoughts.
I think that's awesome. Dr. Fuzzy Eyeball said, if Tim is correct, I'll donate $100 to the charity of his choice. If wrong, he wears a dress for the entire stream.
I don't know about the dress. We can workshop that. I don't know about the dress thing, but I am definitely down to be put my humiliation on the line.
I don't know. You've got some nice legs, man.
Well, they never see my legs.
He doesn't have legs.
I'm.
He's all neck. He's all neck.
But just that's interesting to me because I do think I'm right, and I would love for $100 to go to a charity of my choice. I have some great ones in mind.
Yeah.
You know what, Fuzzy Eyeball? Edit the dress. I'll wear something else goofy of your choice, and I'll say we're on.
Okay. Well, there you go. Cool. Well, I'm going to read this final one, then we're going to wrap it out. We see Juan IL said, love your channel, guys. I would appreciate if you at least check XCH Chia Project Nakamoto Consensus. Peace. Juan, we might be able to look into that for you guys. If you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to follow us on our social media, especially on Twitter. We're posting all kinds of content over there, and we're going to clip this stream up, and we're going to upload some of our favorite content today. So, Tim,
someone put this. I feel like this is a fair one. If I am wrong, if we go lower and do not set up bullish. I think that's what the real bet is. If we go lower than 35,000 and we do not set up bullish RSI divergence, meaning the RSI drops lower than that 17, I will not wear a hat. And I'll up it. Someone said one stream, I won't wear a hat for a week.
Oh, wow.
If we don't do it, I will not wear a hat for a week.
That's a big deal for him, guys. So that's fair. Well, guys, if you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, and share this stream with your friends. By the way, episode 5 of Why Bitcoin is coming out at 9:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, so make sure that you smash that subscribe button, post notification bell, and Backyard Birds podcast. I see your message. Shoot us an email at support@cryptojebb.com, and Taylor will get back to you on that. Guys, thank you so very much for watching. We will see you on Monday. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good